Welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Lori Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We're starting out today's show talking about cancer, which has touched all of our lives. In fact, an estimated 38% of all Americans will be diagnosed with cancer at one point in their lifetime. That's more than 1/3 of all of us. Today, we're going to be talking about how to manage a cancer diagnosis. And my guest is Scott Henderson, who literally wrote the book on how to walk through a very devastating cancer diagnosis. And the book is called Worth the Suffering. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, Lori.
So this book is actually about your journey with your beloved wife,
It is, yes.
Jenna, who unfortunately succumbed to her ovarian cancer at age 30.
Correct.
And tell us about, you all were married for 3 years when she received that devastating diagnosis, but she'd actually been diagnosed in her teenage years, right?
She did, yes. She did. So when she was in high school, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer twice. They found it on a freak cheerleading accident, got her to the hospital, found out that her tumor had actually burst open, and so there were cells everywhere, and she had to go through chemo treatment and all of that. And then fast forward 13, 14 years, the cancer had come back.
So the first thing a person asks is, how do I deal with this?
Right. Right. And I don't know that there's any right way or any book that you can write that says, here's the manual to deal with suffering. The way that we dealt with it was we leaned heavily on our faith. And so without that, I don't know that there would have been an easy way to get through it. And so to see Jenna walk through her cancer diagnosis with joy. Yes, it was devastating. And yes, it was hard. But to hear her say, I'm ready to go to chemo because I get to go see my coworkers and I get to go see my doctors. And she would go there, and because she was treated at Cincinnati Children's, because it was a recurring cancer from when she was treated earlier, she was treated by the same people that she was working with. And so she saw it as an opportunity to walk in there and to say hi to friends. So she was joyful even in the midst of going to get chemo.
One thing I remember from this book is a quote that really stuck out to me was, she said, cancer sucks. I just want to go be with Jesus.
Yeah, she did. So that was her hope through it all. And that was her one complaint that I had ever heard her say in her entire journey with cancer. She never complained. She would always see something to be thankful for every day.
And so you all hung on to hope and were hoping for a miracle until about a week before she passed.
So essentially that week, we had gone into Cincinnati Children's to give her IV nutrition. It was a 5-day stay, and then she was going to get on a plane and go to Disney World and just have this, they were going to go to Harry Potter World and have this girls' week. In that week, about day 3 in, they decided that something wasn't right, that instead of her lungs filling up with fluid, there was something else going on there. And so up until that time, we were extremely hopeful and believed to our core that God was going to heal her. Never did we have the discussion of, well, what happens if God doesn't heal me? Mm-hmm. It was always in the back of my mind, but we were just faithfully expectant of God to do something.
A lot of people wonder if they could go through something like that so joyfully and so thankfully.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
So I could do it because she was doing it. I wasn't the one that had the most pain or the one that was suffering the most. But what I got to do was I got to serve her and love her through her cancer. And so if that meant running to the store, if it meant sitting by her side as she watched TV shows, whatever it was that I could do for her, I knew that those were moments that were significant for her because I couldn't physically take on her pain or her emotional just the emotion behind what she was dealing with, but I could be there. And so to see her joyfully walk through it, and she was the one experiencing it, gave me the ability to do it joyfully. She was joyful because she actually spent time with the Lord. She spent time with Jesus every day, and she journaled, and she wrote, and she prayed, and she was expectant, and she was faithful.
And speaking of that, viewers will notice that this book is actually written by Jenna Henderson because it's mostly her blogs and her journals and her prayers.
Yeah, so I didn't want to take credit for her writing. And so though I did write some in there and her friends wrote some in there, it's mostly her story of finding out that the cancer had returned for the 3rd and 4th time, and then her writing about the experiences that she has through her cancer and the joys that come from it and how she leans on into God through all of that. So it's her writing in a way that is she's just opening up her heart and saying what she wants to believe and what she hopes for. But even if it does not, just her joy still comes out.
God is good all the time, no matter what.
Right.
How did you come to that conclusion? How did you hang on to that, especially you after she left?
So that next month or so was really difficult, I'll be honest. And to have your life and your wife and your whole future eliminated with the passing of your wife, who is only 30, and to think about all that's to come is gone, was difficult. I mean, there's no words that I can even describe for that. But knowing that her life still had purpose and it still had meaning, our hope from the beginning of this was that God would use it for His glory. And in that, we thought, oh man, there's going to be this healing miracle is going to happen, right? And so the doctors, the nurses, the high school students that were around, our families, our cities will get to see a miracle. They'll get to see cancer just miraculously healed. And when that doesn't happen, then you're left with how is God still good when His faithful daughter is taken away? How does a good God allow a woman who loves Him to have a life that ends this short? And that is a question that I wrestled with. And through seeking scriptures and through looking in the Bible, every time that you see Jesus heal someone, I started to realize that those people still probably had suffering to come, and those that He raised from the dead still died again. They're not still walking around the earth. And to know that Jesus's healings were secondary and not His primary focus was key. That His primary focus was the heart, and that I want you to know me. Mm-hmm. And that helped me get through it, to say, okay, God is still good, and He is using it for His glory. Because there are thousands of people that have heard her story, and it has impacted their faith.
And where can people get more information? Do you have a website?
It is. It's at worththesuffering.com, or it's anywhere books are available, like Amazon or any of the bookstores of that nature.
Well, as I said, it's a wonderful book, not only for anyone who's been dealt a cancer diagnosis, but for anyone who's going through any suffering at all. It really puts things into perspective, and you are such an inspiration to us. Scott Henderson, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Lori. Much appreciated.
And we'll be right back.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Here, we're committed to a heritage of rigorous scholarship dating back over 1,000 years.
And to a faith tradition dating back 1,000 more.
This is how we create a culture of inquiry where no topic is off limits.
And a culture of hope.
Anything's possible!
It's Christian leadership.
And it's changing the world for the better.
It's higher learning.
It's greater knowing.
It's what makes us whole.
It's what makes us Regent.
Welcome back to Healthy Living, and we're talking about healthy babies right now with our tech and lifestyle editor, Caleb Kinchlow, who is getting ready to be a new father himself. So all this is very personal to him. And these are all the latest advances for things for new parents.
Yes, super excited. We were actually 29 weeks
So my baby's the size of like a cabbage right now, so that's super exciting. So let's talk about the first products, okay? So first one over here. So check this out. So beforehand, having a pack and play could be a little bit cumbersome.
Right.
I know because I know you're a mom as well, so you probably had something similar to this.
Right.
So what 4moms.com has done is they've really just streamlined the process. So I need your help with this one. So we're going to pull up the sides here and simply unclip, put the sides and just clip them off.
Very
there's
easy.
Little clips here. Just pull that off for me.
Oh, they're little clips.
Yeah, little clips. Very simple to pull up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There we go. You're pulling that up. Pull it up. Okay.
Love it.
One more over here. All right, so now, you put this to the side. Now, you have your pack in place. When they're a little bit older, they're taller, they're hanging out in here.
Yes.
Right? Now, this is the part that I really like about what they've done here. Is just grab this little piece on the inside. Boom.
Whoa!
Very simple, very easy to use, and obviously to pull it back out one-handed, just simple.
Wow.
And it locks back in. It's very sturdy, this device. And this is the Breeze Plus by 4moms.
And how much does this run?
Okay, so this one will run you about $300. I mean, they have different models of it as well. But also what's really cool is that this piece right here actually folds around it and becomes a very nice like duffel bag that you can walk around and carry with. So very, very simple to use.
Very multifunctional.
Yes, I love this product.
And then in what we took out, that was like a little changing table and a bassinet. Love it. Yes. Perfect. This is a great gift, too, a shower gift. People can go in on it together. Yeah. Grandparents can buy it.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we have?
Okay, so moving right along here. So, feeding your baby is something that's very important, and I'll be doing a lot of it.
You better.
So what we have here, this is called the Mia. And what this device is actually a bottle monitor.
A bottle monitor.
So it has a lot of different features. So some of the key features of it is that if I take it here, let's see here, and I flip it upside down, see if it blinks right here, if it blink for me. So what it'll do is it'll actually let you know if your bottle is tipped too far up. That way, because you don't want that because the baby will get milk all over their faces. But also what I really love is that it tells you the temperature. So if it's too hot, it'll blink bright red. If it's just right, it'll be like a green. Or if it's too cold, it'll be like a dark blue.
Well, that's so important too.
Yeah, because I know you used to have to take it and kind of like do the little.
Right, which isn't very accurate.
Not very accurate.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, these devices here, they're also Wi-Fi enabled. There's also a Bluetooth model as well, and they're voice activated. So I can say, hey Mia, start with 4 ounces of milk. And then after the baby finishes feeding, I can say, Mia, there are 2 ounces left. And then using the app, it gives you a nice tracker so you can follow the feeding habits over a long period of time, make sure they're getting the right amount of nutrients through the bottle.
That is incredible. So this is called Mia.
Mia.
And how much does that run?
This will run you about $69.99.
$70.
Yeah. And in fact, actually, there's a promo code that I actually put below on the screen to give you a discount by watching this show.
Excellent. All right. Healthy Living viewers get a little discount.
Yes.
This is so cute. I love the little monkey.
Yes. Okay, so check this out. Now, being a new parent, the baby's resting and their breathing is something that's very concerning for people.
Absolutely.
So what they've done here with the Snooza Hero SE, they have this device here which actually monitors their breathing. So what you do with this device is that you put it on their abdomen, and it tracks the movement with the breathing. And if there's no movement for about 15 seconds, it will begin to lightly vibrate the baby to wake them up.
Wonderful.
And then if there's no movement after that, then it sounds like a really strong alarm to wake the parents up so that they can get involved in the situation. What's really incredible about the Snooza brand is that they have a variety of different products. They won plenty of awards. They have one for breathing. They have one for feeding, monitoring your heart. And this is the SE Hero model. So, but I just love what Snooza has done with their products.
Wow, this is what I would consider a must-have.
Yes,
this is very important for the health of the child.
Absolutely.
And then what's with the little monkey here?
Well, the monkey, obviously just for the prop, because it just looks nice. But this last item, okay, so this one right here is the shot of your arm. This is for the parents. So this is called the Ember Wave. Now, this is what is called a personal thermostat. So if you're a parent, you might be very active, moving around. If you tend to be very hot or cold, this device will actually increase your temperature by 5 degrees, either up or down.
Wow.
So it's that shot right here. So watch this. If I take this here, it's turning blue. Then after a few seconds, it should actually begin to cool off your wrist here. And then also if I take it the opposite way there, make it red. There it goes. And it should warm you up.
I can feel it already.
Yeah.
It's really fast
it's very cool, yes.
And it's really sleek and looks like it's easy to clean as well.
Yeah, very easy to clean. It's called the Ember Wave.
And so how does this affect the baby?
Okay, so, so this one right here this one's not for the baby. This one's for the parents. Because if you're very active, you're moving around, you might get very hot, very cold. It's for you as a parent to be cooled off.
Oh, I love it, because a lot of times when you're taking care of a child, you are running around like crazy.
Yes.
You can get overheated really easily. It's like running a marathon. We all know that. For 18 years straight. All right, this is fantastic information for the health and well-being of the baby and the parents. And Caleb, God bless you. We wish you every blessing for your new child, and these things are certainly going to help.
Thank you, Lord, for having me on.
And we'll be right back after this.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Welcome back to Healthy Living. We're here in the kitchen talking about turmeric, the superfood that's been around for thousands of years, but only recently started flying off the grocery store shelves for good reason. It's only been 20 years or so since doctors identified inflammation as the root cause of virtually all of our most gripping health problems: heart disease, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and more. This silent killer destroys our insides by keeping them in a constant state of stress.
And inflammation is important because I think of it kind of as this frat party that never stops in the body.
Women's health expert Dr. Sarah Gottfried is among a growing number of physicians who tell their patients to do what they can to reduce inflammation. Topping the list, consume curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric.
The cool thing about curcumin is that it is the most potent anti-inflammatory that we have on the planet.
People in India who typically eat curcumin at every meal tend to have very low rates of cancer, Alzheimer's, and other inflammatory diseases. Raw turmeric root can be found in the produce department of the grocery store, ground dried turmeric in the spice aisle, and in the vitamins section you can find turmeric or curcumin supplements. Research shows it's especially good for the brain. For instance, a 2018 study published in the Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry shows seniors who took curcumin enjoyed significant improvements in their memory, attention span, and mood. Curcumin can also reduce pain and can be used in place of pharmaceuticals like opioids and NSAIDs, which can carry serious side effects. Dr. Gottfried says curcumin is particularly helpful to her patients battling painful uterine fibroids. 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric contains about 200 milligrams of curcumin. Curcumin also possesses antioxidant properties. Recent studies reveal it slows the growth of a number of cancers, such as prostate, colon, and breast.
As a hormone expert, I especially like the effect of curcumin on estrogen. So in your body, you make good and bad estrogens, and what we know is that curcumin can have an anti-proliferative effect on bad estrogens, including cancer cells.
As great as it sounds, curcumin does carry one significant drawback. It's difficult for our bodies to absorb. The degree to which a substance is absorbed is called bioavailability.
Sometimes you can take very expensive supplements and then you're peeing out most of what you're taking. So you want to make sure that you're absorbing what you're taking.
Dr. Gottfried says 2 substances, fat and black pepper, help curcumin absorb into our bodies. That's why she recommends consuming things like this turmeric latte that contains coconut oil and almond milk, or this turmeric soup that contains coconut oil and black pepper, as well as healthy fresh ginger. When it comes to supplements, she recommends ones that also contain fat or black pepper, or ones that have been specially formulated for bioavailability. Speaking of inflammation, one of the biggest causes of it is consuming too much of this stuff, vegetable oil and oils like it, called omega-6 fats. Most Americans need to cut way back on foods containing a natural ingredient they've probably never even heard of, but eat every day: omega-6 fats. These foods fill grocery stores, vending machines, and restaurants. Omega-6 fats are in vegetable oils, often touted as healthy alternatives to trans fats and saturated fats, but that can be misleading. The problem isn't that omega-6 fats are inherently bad for you, it's that eating too many of them can cause serious problems. Dr. Michael Roizen, chairman of the Cleveland Clinic's Wellness Institute, describes the deadly inflammation that can come from loading up on too many foods with omega-6s.
Causes your arteries to get inflamed, causes your immune system to get inflamed, and decreases your ability to fight infections, decreases your ability to find cancer cells and get rid of them before they cause cancer, and increases inflammation and atherosclerosis in your arteries. So that's the omega-6s.
Examples of foods containing omega-6 fats are peanut oil and canola oil used in home and fast food cooking, soybean, corn, safflower, and sunflower oils in thousands of processed foods, ranging from mayonnaise and salad dressing to microwave popcorn and baked goods. So how much omega-6 fat should we be eating? About the same amount as the omega-3 fat we consume. It's in fish and fish oil supplements. Our body needs both omega-6 and omega-3 in nearly equal amounts. Striking that balance is tricky. Some populations, like the Japanese, do a good job. The U.S., not so much. Most Americans eat 20 times the omega-6 fats versus omega-3s.
The ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is important. The higher the ratio, the more omega-6 or the less omega-3, the more inflammation.
So foods containing omega-6 fats we do well to push away while bumping up our omega-3 intake. To learn your exact omega-6 omega-3 ratio, ask your doctor for a fatty acid blood test. When we come back, how time spent here in the kitchen can actually boost mental health.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
As the nations rage, you can stand with Israel.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
Call 1-800-700-7000 and get to life.
This is our nature as a country.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is, this is what I'm doing.
Support Israel in their time of need. Get to Life, now available on DVD. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
And I wish that other people throughout the world could see this side of Israel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
The kitchen is often called the heart of the home because it's where people connect. That type of support boosts mental health, especially for teenagers. Saying those 3 magical words, I love you, may actually be what keeps your child out of trouble and out of the hospital. According to a new study by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, helping your kids feel cared for at home and school sets them up for long-term success. Kids who felt a stronger connection to family and friends were less likely to misuse drugs, engage in unsafe sexual activity, and be involved in dysfunctional romantic relationships. Open communication with kids may be key to making them feel cared for. By knowing what's going on in their life, you can also help them when a problem comes up. Make time to enjoy activities like cooking together. Schedule a family dinner at least once a week. Encourage your kids to join clubs at school, partake in mentoring programs, explore their own interests, and volunteer in the community. These activities can help build their social and emotional maturity. As a parent, friend, or teacher of a teenager, you have an important role in their journey if you step up to the responsibility. You may be part of who they become. That's all the time we have for this edition of Healthy Living. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.